The Liberal Party is meeting on Wednesday to finalise and decide, thrash out their position on the voice, what they'll take to the referendum. You're obviously a leading no campaigner. What's your message to Peter Dutton and Julian Leeser and the other members of Shadow Cabinet ahead of their meeting on Wednesday?
Well, I think the most important message that I can say for my colleagues, my Liberal colleagues, is to put the Australian people first, all of us as a whole. And I have faith that that is how the Liberal Party has always served for the Australian people as one, and certainly not divided along the lines of race. I think the Liberal Party are very much aware that going forward, this voice referendum is less about recognition and more about an attempt to, a transfer of power through the voice bureaucracy itself. But I have faith in certainly in Peter Dutton and within the Liberal Party. I know a number of my colleagues are very common sense individuals who will make the right decision, I believe. The right decision, which you think is saying no to this model? I believe so, recognising Australians as Australians and not dividing us along the lines of race.
When I had you on the show the other week, a couple of weeks ago, I think you indicated that you would support the voice if it was legislation, that your issue was amending the Constitution.
That's exactly right. I mean, if the Prime Minister turned around tomorrow and said, we're going to make recognition, create recognition within the Constitution, but we will make this voice bureaucracy a legislated entity.
Right, so you'd still have the recognition in the Constitution, but the actual voice body would be legislation.
I think that if that were to happen, then I'd probably be able to come on board with that. And I think many others would be able to come on board, including many Conservatives as well, because I think when it all began, it was about recognition within the Constitution. And now it's morphed and we've got this voice entity attached to this proposal going forward, which is fraught with danger as far as I'm concerned.
We've seen many eminent Australians speak out about the model that Anthony Albanese has come out with, John Howard, Tony Abbott, many others, and their concerns, as you say, are about that model of a body having power or unrecognised power, we don't know, unlimited power, we don't know the limits, where they would be, to advise on any matters. Again, no clarification over those matters. So, Julian Leeser made the point at the press club today. He argued that Anthony Albanese hadn't approached this in a bipartisan way, hadn't come to the table to find a model that all Australians could agree on. Anthony Albanese rejected that and said he hadn't seen Peter Dutton show any willingness to have a conversation about this. I mean, how much politics is actually going on here, and it's really not serving Indigenous Australians in the best way?
Well, I think I have to agree with my colleague, with Julian Leeser, in that regard. I think it's all lip service from Prime Minister Albanese in terms of his want for there to be a bipartisan approach. This proposal has come from him, from his government, his working group. In fact, I would suggest that he has very little control and the working group have ultimate control. And I think Megan Davis's opinion piece in the Weekend Australian demonstrates that completely. While on one hand, we've got the Prime Minister suggesting that it's not going to have sort of this unlimited power. And then we've got Megan Davis on the other hand saying, well, actually it does, and Australians should be okay with that. I think that's deeply concerning, and I think certainly my colleague Julian Leeser recognises this and recognises that the Labor government have not brought to the table anything that we as the coalition can jump on board with.
Yeah. All right, Senator Jacinta Price, thank you very much for joining me here today.
Thank you, Sharri.